don't know about y'all, but I am sick of winter. I am ready for spring and muskie opener. But before we get there, I want to make a little video for you guys talking about something that I think is pretty cool. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and thanks for watching. Today's video is going to be a little different. I want to go over something that I've been kind of toying around with in my spare time, and it's something that I think is pretty cool and that hopefully you guys will be able to take some value from. As some of you may know, I've been running Humminbird Mega Live for about 2 years, and since I've gotten into kind of the self-filming side, I like the setup for it. I like the shuttle. I like the compactness of Mega Live as compared to like a live scope, but the shuttle left something to be desired in terms of self-filming. The battery that comes with the Mega Live kit is a great battery. It can run both the transducer and the head unit depending on your kind of your screen darkness or dimness. It can run for about 14 hours or so, but I wanted to be able to self-film and hole hop so I can capture some content for you guys going forward when I go up to like Red Lake and stuff. I didn't do as much of that this year as I maybe would have liked, but I started kind of looking at aftermarket shuttles and whatnot, and what I realized pretty quickly was that they leave a lot to be desired. A lot of the aftermarket shuttles, most of them are made out of metal. They're big, they're bulky, they're heavy. You don't really want to lug them around, and I've looked at every single one of them, and they all have their pros and their cons, and they're all really nice at the end of the day, but I wanted something that could be really, really compact. So I actually stumbled upon a video that Humminbird has on their YouTube channel, and it really kind of brought to light to me just how unique this shuttle is and how useful it can be if you're willing to kind of think outside the box and get a little creative with some of the stuff you want to do. So let me take you through some of these features. I'll kind of walk you through each of them one by one and why I thought it'd be beneficial, but keep in mind here, the goal of this is, for me personally, was self-filming. I wanted to be able to run auxiliary power, self-film on this, but also keep some of the standard features that are really beneficial to this shuttle and make it super fishable. So even if you don't like self-filming, you can probably take something away from this with my setup, and hopefully it ends up being useful to you guys and helps you put more fish topside next winter, since this ice season's effectively kind of slowing down here and dying off. So yeah, let's jump into it right now, and we'll kind of walk through each of these features one by one. Okay, so let's start talking about maybe some of the basic features of this shuttle. What I don't think a lot of people realize is just how modular this thing is. So there's a rod holder on both sides of this shuttle, and that's really great for hole hopping, right? You can keep a dead stick in one, you can keep kind of your jigging rod in the other, one on this side and then one on this side. Super beneficial for that. Those come standard with the shuttle. The shuttle itself also comes with, you can probably see these bolts here. They're mounted kind of all over the shuttle, and what that allows you to use is use a 1/4 inch bolt to effectively mount additional accessories onto the shuttle. Super cool design. It works really well for kind of that hole hopping style, which is what I want to do more of next winter. As you can see, this thing's busy, right? There's a lot going on here. A lot of this is stuff I ended up adding onto it for purposes of self-filming. So let's talk about maybe what I think is the coolest add-on first, and then we'll get into some of the others. So half the issue with a lot of the aftermarket shuttles for live imaging units is there's nowhere to store the transducer pole. So this is a Summit fishing transducer pole. Really like it, super lightweight. It's telescopic, so it actually extends. You can see right here, you twist these nuts and that effectively extends. So you can get some distance out of it. It also can be used on your boat by a ram mount. So I end up using this on my boat when I'm walleye fishing. I don't really use it a ton for muskie. But the add-on I did here, these are quick grips. I'll link these below. And what these effectively do is there's existing hardware inside of this. I pulled the screw out and got a slightly longer screw or nut and effectively just bolted these right to it. I don't know how you guys will be able to see that, but basically used existing hardware locations, bolted them to it. It works really good for keeping that transducer pole mounted and kind of compact. The only downside is it's hard to get in here to access the main power switch. So I think what I'm going to try to do is find some angle brackets to get these up and have them sit kind of perpendicular to what they're doing now, and then get it up out of the way so I can get in here a little bit easier. Right now you almost have to take the pole off to access that power switch. That's probably the most useful, because then when you're hole hopping you can quickly throw that transducer pole in there and move to your next spot if you don't want to effectively carry it in a separate hand, right? Okay, the next modification I did here was this glow ring. I found this off Amazon. I will link it below. And what I did with this is I actually modified it. It came with a plug that plugged into the bottom of it, and I didn't really care for having that mounted down here, so I actually cut that plug out, drilled a hole on this backside and rewired it in. But now I can charge jigs and whatnot. It's not on right now, I don't have the power on, but I can charge jigs and whatnot kind of on the fly. And then I used I'll lay an overlay shot of it, but I used a kind of a 12-volt quick connect to tie into the existing quick connects that are available on the Shuttle already. Really quick, easy. I did have to drill into the side of the Shuttle and use some adhesive to mount this how I wanted it mounted, and then I actually used self-tapping screws back here to kind of hold this thing stationary in place so it won't bounce around much. But then that allows you to effectively kind of quickly charge your jigs up on the ice. That is actually wired into the main battery that powers the transducer and the head unit. Next, which probably stuck out to you guys like a sore thumb when you're looking at this, is I added auxiliary power to this baby. So I can run 2 GoPros, up to 4 GoPros off of this on this DeWalt battery. There's a 12-volt adapter here that I did have to drill into the bottom of the Shuttle and use some adhesive on. But now I can run GoPros off a secondary battery source, so I'm not cutting back the life of kind of the head unit and the transducer. So I can basically self-film for a 14-hour day, no problem, which is effectively what I wanted. And then, you know, if I am in my flip over Shuttle, I can plug my aerator into this. I can run lights off my Shuttle off of this battery source. So it's a really kind of neat, compact design. I don't need to carry an additional power box with me. Most of the time I already have batteries with to power my auger anyway, so pretty cool little setup here. All I did was I used a piece of aluminum angle iron, and then I used a hole saw, drilled a couple holes. It got a little messy here. My hole saw was a little crooked, so I didn't want to cut straight, but used a hole saw, cut some holes, wired it into the back, and now it's powered off a switch, and I can shut each one of these off individually when not in use, and they kind of stow away pretty nice and neat here. So cool little setup for self-filming. Even if you don't self-film, you could still run a similar setup to power your aerator and lights in your shack and whatnot, and keep it all kind of in a compact design. Pretty neat. Okay, the next mod here, I haven't fully integrated this yet. My boat's in storage. I have some ram mounts, but these ram mounts are available on Amazon. They use a 1/4-inch bolt to screw right into existing hardware locations, and what I'm planning on doing is mounting tall ram mounts up from there, so I don't have to carry these additional kind of bendy arms with. I probably will for this one, just so I get the graph cam going at any given point in time, because that just adds some flavor to the footage. But yeah, I mounted them on both sides so I can run ram mounts off of there, get some additional cameras going if I want to. Again, using existing hardware on the Shuttle, and yeah, pretty cool, the modularity of the Shuttle. And then, as most people know, if you do any sort of early ice on like a red lake, or even as you get into late winter and you want to bounce around hole hopping, the key to success a lot of times in those late winter periods, particularly for walleye, is having a dead stick. So what this is actually a catch cover rod holder, and what I did was I just simply used a multi-tool and cut the bottom off of it, and then I JB welded a 1/4 inch nut into the bottom of it and screwed it into the existing hardware location. Now when I get to a spot where I'm actively moving fish, I can pop another hole and throw a dead stick down, leave it pretty unattended, and then it just kind of stows up nice and neat out of the way. Some food for thought there for guys who want to have another line down while they're out hole hopping around throughout the day. It's oftentimes that set line presentation can be really key to success when the bite's finicky or as you get into those later winter periods. The last thing I want to mention here is the ability to just wrap the transducer cords around the back of the head unit. This, as I mentioned, I didn't give this shuttle enough credit initially when I was looking at aftermarket shuttles, but Humminbird did a really good job of thinking this out so you can be truly portable with a live imaging sonar, which is what, in my opinion, Garmin really lacks on. So it's pretty easy to kind of wrap that around there and keep it out of the way and feed yourself some more cable if you do in fact need it. Standard feature, I guess you'd call that, but super useful. Well guys, I hope you found this video useful. As I mentioned at the beginning of this, I maybe didn't give the Humminbird shuttle enough credit as far as ability to modify and tweak and just kind of really customize it to fit your own needs. What I really like about MegaLive that I just find to be a huge detriment to LiveScope is just the compact size of the overall ice package. I know several buddies who run a LiveScope, and it's amazing just how bulky those units are. As you can see in this video, I mean, this is incredibly compact. It actually fits in the basket I have on the front of my ATV really nicely, and it allows me to really easily hole hop with a live imaging sonar, which I don't know that you could say about Garmin. I don't know a ton about Lowrance and Active Target, but I'm really happy with this. Yeah, it maybe isn't as good as far as detail, small jigs, things of that nature yet, but with each upgrade, software upgrade that is, the Humminbird gets a little bit better and closes the gap a little bit more. So, some pros and cons to both sides of it. You get a compact design, you don't have the giant black box on this. It's a lot easier to be mobile with this, but on the Garmin side, you maybe get a little bit more depth and definition in some of your imagery. The other thing I'll say for the Humminbird is, I personally think the perspective mode or landscape mode on this is better than LiveScope. I used it for dragging suckers behind the boat musky fishing this past fall, and I also hopped in a boat and went sucker fishing with a buddy who has LiveScope, and it's amazing how much more clearly I could see fish on the Humminbird. It was very distinguishable what was bait, what was a muskie. And from my perspective, like that's how I plan to use this for musky fishing, is mainly to monitor suckers and maybe even trolling baits at some point. So having that visibility and ability to kind of see what's going on under the ice is super beneficial to me, and some food for thought too for you if you're a musky fisherman. Works great for walleye too, as you saw in some of our Eagle Lake videos from earlier this summer, and even some of the ice fishing stuff we've done this winter. But yeah, super happy with how it turned out. I think the only additional modification I'm going to do to this is I'd like to get some sort of release tool storage on it. So I'm going to think through some aluminum angle iron ideas on how I can add that to this, so I can keep a needle nose and maybe a small jaw spreaders and kind of some hook outs, things of that nature, and maybe even figure out a way to mount a tackle box, small tackle box with jigs and stuff on the back of it. So if I end up doing that, I'll post another video to kind of walk you guys through how I set that up, but I gotta think a little bit more about that. I'm kind of running out of space in the shuttle the way it sits today, and I want to make sure it's really portable, easy to use, and can still fit in the basket on my ATV too. So we'll see how that ends up panning out and whether I can actually be successful in kind of engineering something like that. But yeah, hopefully you guys are able to take something away from this, and this ends up being beneficial to you, and it'll help you maybe make yourself a little bit more portable with a live imaging unit so you can put more fish topside. But yeah, I think the reality, guys, is we're entering the spring months here. Content might slow down a little bit, which is part of the reason why I wanted to make this video and kind of show you guys some of the things I'm doing here with this live imaging setup. But spring's around the corner. Musky fishing's gonna start soon, and I've got a lot of exciting things coming this summer. A couple trips to Canada, maybe one more in the fall that we're trying to work out and handle the logistics on. But yeah, really looking forward to open water at this point. I'm over winter, as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, and yeah, looking forward to what's to come. So hopefully we'll be able to put out some pretty cool stuff for you guys and keep you entertained throughout the summer. So thanks for watching. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so and give this video a like if you found it useful. I appreciate it. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you guys want a hat, send me a message. Really happy with how they turned out. I've received a ton of compliments on everybody who's purchased one, and it helps us create brand exposure as well as, you know, just grow the reach of the channel. So if you're interested, send me a message and we'll work something out. But yeah, thanks again for watching, guys. Take care. Have a good one.